Hello my sweets, it's Keisha. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new, welcome, and thank you so much for choosing to watch my video. Today I'll be showing you how I made these 3 fun and whimsical decor pieces perfect for the spring and Easter season. Alright, let's jump right in. The list of supplies I used is in the description box below. I began project number 1 with a rectangular wall decor piece from Dollar Tree. After removing the hanger and filling in the staple holes with spackle, I painted the entire thing with Waverly chalk paint in white. I also painted the sides and front of this unfinished butterfly decor piece that can be found in the Crafter's Square section of Dollar Tree. Then set them aside to dry. Here I have a monogram cross stitch that I put together during the Great Arctic Blast in Texas to keep my mind and hands occupied. The pink was a little too bright, so I painted it with Waverly chalk paint in Ballet Slipper, then painted the leaves with Craft Smart in Holiday Green. To pretty up the butterfly, I decided to use these spring Fling napkins. After removing the second ply, I tore out individual flowers I'd like to use. Next, I went about auditioning the flowers for placement. After a while of moving them around, I just couldn't get behind all of the different colors, so I opted to go with only pink flowers. I adhered the pieces of napkin with Mod Podge, gently smoothing out any wrinkles. Once I was satisfied, I set it aside to dry. Once dry, I used sandpaper to remove the excess napkin hanging over the edges. Next, I removed the hanger from the monogram and applied it to the butterfly using a combination of E6000 and hot glue. I cut down a piece of scrapbook paper from Hobby Lobby to fit inside of the rectangular wall decor piece. Then I used a glue stick to adhere the paper to avoid any bubbles or wrinkling. To elevate the butterfly, I glued 4 tumbling tower blocks to the back of it. Then I placed the butterfly in the middle of the frame. Lastly, I added a twine hanger to the piece, and this project is done. And here's a look at how this project came out. Project 2 was inspired by the sweet Christine from Christine's Creations on Facebook. If you don't know who she is, I have her page linked below. Go check her out and follow her page. She does some very amazing things and even has an Etsy shop if you're in the market to buy. I began project 2 with a regular ankle sock and filled it partially with rice to give it bottom weight. Then I filled the remainder of the sock up to the heel with Fiberfill. I used 2 hair elastics to tie off the top, then I tied string in case the elastics fail in the future. Next, I used 2 more elastics to make a nose. I prefer a bigger nose on a gnome, so I grab a larger amount of Fiberfill and sock to make it the size I want. Here I have 2 coordinating fuzzy socks I purchased from Amazon. I've been having a hard time finding them in my area. If you're having the same issue, a link to the socks I used is in the description box below. I cut the decorative sock just above the heel, then put it on the gnome with the heel towards the back. Using black wire from the Automotive section of Dollar Tree, I make whiskers. I use pieces that are about 9 to 10 inches long. And for a different look, you can also use twine or cording. Next, I secure the decorative sock to the gnome's body with hot glue and set it aside. To make the ears, open the plain sock and lay it flat as you see I'm doing here. Next, cut from the center tip of the toe up about 5 to 6 inches. Take 2 pipe cleaners and twist them together. You'll need 2 of these. Fold a single pipe cleaner in half and twist it together. Fold the doubled up pipe cleaners in half and twist the bottoms together. Combine the 3 pieces to form like a bunny ear headband, then insert it into the sock as you see here. Seal the openings of the ears with hot glue. Be careful during this stage as you can easily get burned. Place the ears on the gnome, creating a cuff at the bottom, and secure it in place with hot glue. Then set it aside. Here I have a package of heart-shaped chalkboard tags. I'll be using one to make feet. First, I cover the hole with a small piece of paper and set it aside momentarily. I also have 2 googly eyes from an assorted pack. I'll use the middle size and a Sharpie to mark out the eyelids. Then use Waverly chalk paint in ink to fill in the hole in the heart and paint in the eyelids, then set them aside to dry. And what's fun about this is you can use any color to paint the lids. After the lids and feet have dried, I go ahead and place them. To fancy up this bunny, I'm using a piece of boa I purchased at Joann Fabric. Dollar Tree does carry boa, but this was already in my stash. For the tail, I'm using a pom-pom from Hobby Lobby that matches the boa. Dollar Tree also carries pom-poms similar to these, but like I always say, use what you have. To make the teeth, I'm using a small piece of Model Magic clay. Shape the clay into a rounded triangle, then mark down the middle with a sharp instrument. This does take about 24 hours to dry completely, so I have one that I've made previously. I secure the teeth under the nose with hot glue. Next, I make a crisscross bow out of various ribbons from Dollar Tree. I secure it to the bunny, then place a pom-pom in the center of the bow. Lastly, I coiled up the whiskers to give her more character, and this sweet girl is complete. Thank you again, Christine, for the inspiration. And y'all don't forget to check out her Facebook page linked in the description box below. I began project number 3 by taking apart this 5x5 Shadowbox decor from Dollar Tree. After removing the backing and all of the paper, I gave the entire frame one coat of Waverly chalk paint in white and set it aside to dry. Next, I painted the backing with chalk paint in Pool, dried it slightly with my heat gun, then went in with white to make clouds, then set it aside to dry. Next, I embellished a bunny from this felt craft kit. First, I filled in the eyes and the mouth with a fine-tipped Sharpie. Next, I went in with Waverly chalk paint and Ballet slipper to recolor the toes. Then I moved on to adding pink to the cheeks, ears, and tummy. Then I added the bow and the little pom-pom that came in the kit. And would you look at that? She's got a twin! Next, I printed out some grass on cardstock. Initially, I tried to print it out in color, but my printer was having no parts of it. So I'm going to paint the black and white version using Craftsmart paint in Holiday Green and Apple Barrel in Parakeet. I have both versions of the free printable linked below depending on whether your printer acts right. Next, I cut out the grass, cutting a straight line across the bottom of one and leaving about 1/4 inch below the second one. Also on the second one, I cut off some of the grass itself to eliminate any bulk when putting the frame back together. Next, I marked on the background where I'd be placing the grass and later painted that area brown. And I painted the bottom of the grass brown where any white was showing. I painted the inside bottom of the frame brown. This step is truly optional as it wasn't visible after all was said and done. I forgot to mention earlier that I painted the inside top and sides of the frame with Waverly chalk paint in Pool as well. To assemble, I glued the taller grass to the background about 1/4 inch from the bottom. Next, I attached the shorter grass to 2 tumbling tower blocks that are glued together lengthwise, then glued it to the bottom front of the frame. Next, I glued 2 single tumbling tower blocks to the existing one as you see here. I used this green Spanish moss purchased at Walmart to fill in some of the frame. Next, I glued the bunnies into place, replaced the background, then filled in with more moss where I felt it was needed. You can stop here, but I wanted to add just a little more. For just that little more, I added 3 yellow wildflowers. And this project is complete. Here's a look at the final results. A smaller version of this with a single bunny would be so cute in a tiered tray. Here's one more look at today's fun and whimsical projects. If you've enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and tell me which project was your favorite in the comments. As always, thank you so much for watching, and remember, love, inspire, create. See you next time.